say something real fast?
Test, hello, something real fast.
Something real fast.
Hello, I'm Johnny.
Hello.
All right. Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Goth Yearbook. Is your host, as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn, and with me, as always, is the hostess with the mostest, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. Caitlin, how is it? Mugging?
Mugging? Oh, I actually have the mug. So if you're watching the YouTube video, if you're listening to the podcast, turn it off right now and go to YouTube. And
Thank you. That's what I've been
so
saying forever now.
It's beautiful. This isn't actually the product that I have up for sale, so this is kind of pointless. But the product.
Oh, the audience is enamored immediately.
You also can't really. There we go.
There we go.
Sort of an image, not really. So yeah, I actually maybe if I lower the brightness, yeah, better.
Yeah.
Improvements. So Eric and I have these mugs that I made like kind of as a joke because we both watch The Office, like all white people, and
I didn't know that's what you were even referencing. I'm just going to throw that out there when you say original.
Really?
I thought it was just your own original idea, and I was like, yeah, I love it. Because show them the bat, yeah.
Yeah, on one side it just says host, and I thought it was kind of funny because I was almost wrote world's best host, and then I thought it would be funny if we both had them, and they both said world's best host, and now that I'm saying it out loud, that actually would have been funnier.
Actually, would have been funny if you did that for yours, but not mine.
That would have been good. But yeah, now we have host mugs for sale in the shop, except they say listener. So you, the audience, can have your very own Goth Yearbook mug. Ours say Goth Yearbook After Hours because the name of the show used to be Goth Yearbook After Hours, and now it is just Goth Yearbook because Eric, the Eric Wynn, is just a chaotic,
yes.
creative genius, and he just changes the name of the show when he wants.
Next year it'll be Jazz Yearbook, and then tomorrow, who knows?
I would be down for Jazz Yearbook. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you go to CaitlinD.com, there's these mugs and then a couple of my other like fun little designs, and check them out. There's also a black edition, which is cool. And if people want the after hours one, like I could do it. I could throw it on there. Just like send us DMs. Literally, if you want anything, just send us DMs and we'll probably do it for you.
Yeah, realistically.
We have really anxious attachment styles and we're people pleasers. So we want to know what you want. gothyearbookafterhours@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The email is still the same.
Email's still the same, which makes even less sense. Well, great. I should shout out, I was thinking about like what we could talk about, and I kind of posted a little bit on the main and a little bit on the close story, but I feel like I kind of had to give like the not full accurate version of something that happened this weekend because for the sake of like telling a good story. But for here, I really quickly want to shout it out. I'm talking, of course, about the infamous doll that a lot of people saw on Instagram this weekend. So I'm just going to tell the quick full story here. My mom got an Airbnb out in Sebastopol, California, not too far from where I am, but it's basically like the woods. It's a little and like
beautiful.
Yeah, it's in the forested area of Northern California, heading out towards the ocean a little bit. And this place, like the people who created this Airbnb, I'm guessing that they are new to it or like they just started to make this property available because the pictures undersold it. It is massive. This place is like could literally host a like camp. And it has the word camp in the title. You know how they can always make it like, oh, Sunshine Bodega or whatever.
That makes the story even creepier and weirder.
Yes, that's why I'm saying it up. So for the listeners at home and for the YouTubers at home, this is just a massive property out in the woods. It has very much like Friday the 13th vibes because there's just like all these like shacks and like old chicken coops and stuff like that around the perimeter. They put new paint on it, but it's kind of like they're all dilapidated still and there's cobwebs everywhere. And you're surrounded by like fields behind the property, behind the tree lines where you can see like just beyond them like old dilapidated trailers, like very horror movie at night. And so my mom and I went down to this chicken coop. This is the part that I didn't like say fully because it was just like for the sake of like making it a quick thing on Instagram. We went down there, me and my mom, God bless her, love you mom, shout out Jog, who is 67, a little bit older. We walked down there because we thought that sometimes at these kinds of places, at the Airbnbs, they write very confusing like instructions. You know, they always have like that welcome binder. And sometimes some of them like They're not the most cohesive thing. Whatever. My sister was like, oh, I think the ice cooler or the freezer, like the outdoor freezer, is down at that chicken coop. And it's middle of the night. There are no lights down there. We're literally using my phone as like the light to illuminate the way, which like almost makes it even creepier because you just have like only that little ray of light that's like that white fluorescent.
Yeah, you're like Blair Witch projecting.
Swear to hand to God, my mom starts to open the door and I'm kind of behind her because I'm taller, and I'm like illuminating the light. I jokingly say like, oh my God, this is like something straight out of a horror movie. And she opens it and we see a body on the ground.
Oh my
and
God.
My mom, I think once your kid reaches a certain age, your parents decide that you can fend for yourself, because my mom, it was like there was a dust outline that was like my mom, as she zipped away from me, she was like, fuck you, I'm out of here. And scrambled like away towards the house, like that was like up on top of the hill, and like left me to figure out what's going on. I quickly realized it was not a human body, but I did think for 2 seconds that we opened the door to a dead body, and my heart sank. It was like the Hollywood Tower Terrors. Like my heart was up here and it just like fell 5 stories. What it was, and here's the thing, I'm going to reveal something. I kept it a secret a little bit for a while, but whoever did it, they put like a white shirt on it. They printed a face online. They used like cushions, it looked like, to like make it look.
It looked like foam stuffing.
Yes, exactly. It was very foamy.
Like yellow foam.
And on the bottom were fishnets, and they did have a tear at the crotch. So your instinct is to think like this is someone's homemade fuck doll. No kink shaming here. If you want a homemade fuck doll, that's great. We did find out from the lady who rents the Airbnb, it is in fact like a joke. It was like a practical joke. I think her sons or something to that effect.
Sure.
At least that's the story she's telling. Maybe I could go there tomorrow and she's like completely like got like a whole like cleaning crew out there. She's like, we will never speak of this again. What if we wrote down the Airbnb like, and that fuck doll prank was so funny, Susan?
I mean, yeah, I feel like for Airbnb, that's a pretty risky inclusion.
I think
but it's fun.
That was not where the freezer was, by the way. To be fair, that was like an owner's closet, that owner's coop, quote unquote, that we weren't supposed to go into. We realized after the fact. That was the funniest part, was after all that we didn't even like go to the right place for the freezer. Hence, like, you have to write those little books a little bit better, Airbnb hosts. But I did use it as an opportunity to throw a Goth Yearbook shirt on it and took pictures all over the property with it. I was going to go all out, but then I felt like I was being a little egregious. But I had all these things. I was going to take him on the trampoline with me. I was going to put him in the hot tub, and then I was like, "This might be out of bounds." I did get a lot.
Because what if she was lying and it was like her husband, or her wife, or her, just partner, I guess.
That's kind of where I was like.
You're like taking it in the jacuzzi and it just like dissolves.
Everything about it looked fresh, but I was like, I don't want to, Anywho, long story short, don't do that to people. That's really fucked up. My mom, God bless her, like, I'm so glad she didn't have a heart attack or something like that. To this day, I'll never. It's just so funny to me, like how quickly she kind of like pushed me out of the way and was just like hobbled away, and I was like, well, okay, I guess I'm here to defend myself against the Night of the Living Fuck Doll. But
yeah, I mean, it is funny that was her response. It was very true to her nickname, Jog.
That's true.
And I think it's funny that, like, you were like, I'm not going to personally reproduce, and I'm, like, in my 30s. And she's like, fuck my son, I'm out of here. Yeah. But also, it's like, I do wonder what I would...
Yeah, Jog, terrible.
I do wonder what I would do in that circumstance, because it's one of those things that, like, you can be like, oh, I would never, like, whatever, and you have no idea what you would actually do.
Yeah,
but I tend to be a freezer. I tend to not be a flight person. I tend to be a freezer or a fighter. So, like, I would probably just be, like, screaming, like, backed up against the wall, staring at it.
Yeah. Well, it was fucking, for 2 seconds, it was frightening, thinking that we just
or maybe I would
stumbled upon a dead body.
Yeah, or maybe I would be wildly aroused. I don't know. It's
yeah,
like, you don't know until you're there.
He had like these latex gloves. It was pretty sick. I mean, I think a lot of people, eyebrows were raised. The neighbors, what will they say?
Especially because they're like, oh yeah, that was totally a joke, but it was in an area that you weren't supposed to go in.
Yeah. Well, No, I think it was that it was a prank that they would do to their family kind of thing, and they didn't think that anyone would see it. I don't know. I'm like giving them a lot of benefit.
Yeah.
I'm giving them a little bit of the the benefit of the doubt. For all I know, for all I know, the lady was like texting her husband like, "We need to get to the property the second they're gone and like figure out what's going on."
Or what if this has been like a problem between them and like it's
The
like
neighbor?
she's like the affair has started again, you know? Like
I told you that Richard was no longer allowed on the
Uh-huh.
property.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho,
Well,
I had a lot of people
I
reach out
appreciated
and
yeah.
say that was disgusting. I touched it. They're not wrong. I mean, I did touch it. I moved around. I set him up in poses. What can I say? I'm a fucking freak, and I love a good photo op above all else.
I appreciated it, but I also was just worried about you like energetically. Not so much like the hygiene of it, because like where, you know, realistically there's only if it is a fuck doll, realistically there's only like really one place that you shouldn't be like reaching into the crotch hole, you know?
Yeah.
But also it's just like, you
How
know,
could you not?
what if that
What
is
are you
like
saying?
someone's, and I don't know, like they have imbued all this energy into it and
Yeah.
love and
There's
like
an energy exchange that occurs between the man and his fuck doll. So, I mean,
yeah.
that's stored in there. A lot of maybe anger between like a Richard and Susan fight that evening. You never know what's going on in that doll. Only
Yeah,
time
so
will
I was
tell.
more concerned on that end. But you haven't had any hauntings?
Several. I just assumed. What if I was? What if you saw like classic traditional like white like little woo ghosts
Like
just flying
orbs
around?
just floating
Yeah.
around?
Oh, there's a ghost on the screen right now. Which actually, this might be the perfect time to segue because I feel like the ghost of guests present are ready to be seen. So, Caitlin, you got anything else before I do our little segue?
No.
All right. Well, without further ado, our guest this evening is a stand-up comedian who has appeared on NBC's Last Comic Standing, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Tough Crowd, Colin Quinn, Tosh.0, Mr. Show with Bob and David, and frequently appears on other podcasts like Comedy Bang Bang and Never Not Funny, along, of course, with having his own Netflix special, Act Happy, and his award-winning podcast, The Todd Glass Show. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our this evening, Todd Glass. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing, sir? Thank you so much for
Doing
joining
all right.
us.
You're welcome.
You're looking. I like it. You got this like red glow. I like it. You mean business over there.
You know, it's a yellow bulb because I had a white one in there and it was too bright and it looks red. I noticed that. So people are like, what's going on? But anyway, it's better than bright light.
Better than Todd. I'm so glad I have you here because. So first of all, I want to say thank you for joining us. I've been a longtime fan, a longtime listener of your show, and many years ago, I'm talking many years ago, probably like a decade ago, I still remember you talking about how you find it offensive when you go to someone's house and they have their light situation at a 10 out of 10 and how they have just no. And I brought it up on the show before with Caitlin here about how you understand like the importance of setting a mood, of not having just bright fluorescent lights. You go over to someone's house and it's just oppressive.
Yeah, it's not like you're looking to nitpick. It's almost like a joke, like you're being pranked. Like, when I get it, it's like you sort of think, well, I get it. A lot of people might have it brighter than me, but no, like, well, come on, where is this? Like, but it's you know, but it does. It is a better hang. I have friends of mine that thank me. I went to their house this weekend, and they were both like, "We have dimmers on everything. We're well lit. Come over." But they're like, we use them. Like in the kitchen, we would have never had dimmers in the kitchen. You need it bright. You're cooking, but now they're like, no. It's like people are hanging out at night. You got to make it swanky, like everything else. Dimmers, baby.
Hell yeah! That I remember early on your podcast. I'm going to say right now, your podcast might have been the first podcast that I'm aware of that, when you had guests come on, like there was like intentional setting of the mood. Do you record over the car dealership place, or are you in a new?
No. I have it in like it was probably a carriage house when the house was built.
Oh, that's
in the
right.
30s,
That's right.
Then turned into like probably garages at one point. But and then it's in here now. Like we can sort of see it. I'm here now. We have like the table where I'm at right now, and then the sofas, and there's like a stage with. I have drums and a keyboard. We have music in here a lot. I don't record the show hardly at all. It's funny, but because people always tease me about that. They're like, "Wait, you go to all this and you never shoot it?" I go, "I don't know why I do, but even while we're recording it, I want it to be a good energy and a good vibe. So you still feel it, even though you don't see it. You feel it in the comfort of the guests."
No, absolutely. You're I don't know how I would describe it exactly, but you're very in tune to these things. One of my favorite, in my opinion, iconic Todd Glass story was that someone who understands like the importance of creating a vibe. You're known for your parties you throw at your house, correct, sir? Where you actually have someone come in with a drum set, not like a full band, but you'll have someone come in with a drum set and just play along to like your CD collection and stuff. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. Now it would be on an iPad. But yeah, I was somewhere once where I saw a live drummer. It was like at a comedy club, and next door there was a little room that it was like a review, and they probably wanted to have the budget real low. So I saw a guy on stage in a black suit, and he was playing drums. But I always took for granted that there was a band in there, because you see that, and then they go, no, he just plays the track. So I thought, have a party and just hire a drummer. All you got to do is put the speaker right behind him. They need to hear the music. And I thought that probably sound pretty good because I saw it look pretty good. It's not like I didn't know it would be great. I saw it. I was like, wow, that really makes you think there's a band here. And one fucking drummer with all pre-recorded music. So I would do it at parties all the time. And it was, plus it was a little primal, the energy of at least one live session, But I have friends at weddings. I'm like, please, you have a DJ. I'm begging them. I'm like, please, I'll pay for it. You have to have a drummer, please.
Well, this sets up one of my favorite stories that I've ever heard you tell, which is it true that you actually brought a drummer to a wedding that you weren't invited to, a bride and groom that you didn't actually know?
Look at you. I had a friend who was a newer stand-up comedian, and he also DJ'd for parties. And I told him the drummer idea, said, offer it to somebody the next time, and I'll pay for it. So you don't even have to add it to your price. You go, by the way, a lot of times people want a drummer. It's something they do. And so he called me in like a few weeks. He goes, Todd, this couple, now they've seen videos of what he does. I'm sure he has a presentation, but along with it, he offered a drummer. Some people, he had no video of a drummer. He said, and they said they want to do it. So I was like, oh, I was even impressed. I'm like, Robbie, wait, how'd you offer it? Just like you said. Okay, so I did. I hired the drummer. He's a really good drummer. And I wanted to go to see how it went, but I stayed back. It was on someone's house, but like they had tents and it was a big deal. And they had a DJ. They had a DJ down there, and he set up the drums. But the person running the wedding was just real mean, and they can't be over right on the dance floor. That's where he had a reason for everything. So the drums need to be on the fucking where you want people, right? So they weren't. But anyway, so then a guy walks over. I mean, it worked to my advantage, and he goes, you're a comedian, right? I'm like, and right away, I swear to God, I knew things were going to change drastically, and I'll tell you why. So he goes, you're a comedian, right? And of course I go, oh yeah. He goes, he was real friendly. He goes, how are you here? And I told him the truth. I said, I always thought the drums, but you know what? They got to be right on the dance floor. So he gets all his groomsmen, like without me, he goes, they're not going to tell me, come here. They lifted the drums, put them right in front of the dance floor. He's like, oh, that's no problem. He goes, that's cool. And then the drummer goes, get me my black glasses and my jacket. So I got it. He's a good-looking guy. He puts on his glasses. He's got a black suit on, and he starts playing. And guess what? I mean, people fucking love it. I'm like, it made me feel so good because I thought just the drums 10 feet away, I wouldn't look like, it was good. But when people were dancing around him, and it was like primal, and it was great to see.
Well, you're a man after my own heart, because I actually so for years I played in bands in LA, and recently I moved down to Mexico, and I didn't bring any of my instruments because I drove down, and long story short, so I every time I see live music out, especially if I see a drummer, I just want to like go stand by them because I'm just like, I miss it so much. And it's hard to find that, you know, it's hard to find anything here, much less like a drum set. So it's a lot more rare and like special. But before I left, actually, I lived in my house for like 5 years in LA. And there were 2 times that I had someone bring over a drum set. And because normally I would have like a rehearsal space that we would go to because I don't want everyone in my neighborhood to hate me. So I wouldn't keep a drum kit in my house because I was also like a raging alcoholic and I would have just played them all the time, you know. I made enough of a mess with what I had. And I had like on my 30th birthday was one, and then on the like going away party that I had, I was like, well, I'm leaving. We might as well bring the drum kit into my yard. And like, if everyone gets mad at me, it doesn't really matter because I'm like moving to a new country tomorrow. And and we like, it was so fun though because all my friends are musicians, and so everyone like brought instruments, and we like had like, it was honestly actually a very low key like show night because it was all these like people who were playing their material that wasn't their bands. It was all like the stripped down version of their bands. So it was just so nice. And I absolutely love like hosting. I love setting moods and I love creating that vibe. And down here, I mean, I have some friends down here, but it's not the same as like where I lived for 10 years and in the middle of a major city. And so I miss that right now. And you're making me want to go stand next to a drum kit.
You just have to, whenever I've had drums, I leave them out, and you always have to gently just keep people off the drums that can't play the drums, because then they like ruin the whole energy of the night, you know.
Very true. Yeah.
And I always hate doing it. You know what? By the way, I'm gonna move this camera as I talk to you guys, and it's all good because we're sitting here talking about, I realize it's the irony of talking about, oh, I care about ambiance, and meanwhile I look like a devil in red. Like, oh yeah, he really fucking knows, you know? To
be fair, Eric is like telling you how much he appreciates it, and he's like completely blasted with light right now.
Isn't that funny? I was gonna say that a lot of times people will have like an hour conversation with me about this topic because I'm obsessed with it, you know. And then I'll go over their house, and look, again, I'm not looking to nitpick. If anything, it's the opposite. Whenever you go over someone's house, and some people do it with no money at all, they have a cool place. You know, you go back to like, they made their place cool. You're looking to not tear it down, but the brightness doesn't cost anything. I'm always like, so we'll have an hour conversation, then I'll go over their house for a party or something, or they'll have an event and they'll have a thing. And it's so fucking bright. I'm like, what the fuck? We talked about this. Were they lying, or didn't they know what the fuck?
Well, and I love that Eric had it all lined up. It was his first thing out of the gate, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, you just look like you're like being interrogated right now.
The ring light.
Why does it still look red? I still look red.
Yeah, hey, if I'm going to defend anything, I'm going to say that I'm not throwing anyone on the bus, but for the listener at home, Todd to make things more ambient on his side, he actually went deeper into the shadows. No, actually, I see it now. I see you.
Can I change?
Oh, look at that. You got like Command Central over there.
Can I change the bulb? Or no, we don't have time for it. Look, people, I preface.
Would we be going and running an errand with you? Like, do you need to go buy the bulb? We can do this.
No, it's right there. But what's funny is I've done these before, obviously, and I always look into the camera and you see it. But like for some reason tonight it does. It looks like I'm red as fuck. There must be a reason.
To defend myself, I watched like 1 or 2 YouTube videos that said get a ring light. It makes you look more professional. I do not like it. I feel like I'm sweating whenever I got it on.
You know what though? You know what? You look not. Hey, look, I don't want to make it like I'm the Grand Marshal, but you're really bright. But you also, it looks good because your background is good. You're not like you're not. It doesn't look like you're in an operating room. You know, you're well lit, but you have a cool all those. Is it books behind you?
Books, a Fraser box set.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot. It looks cool. It looks like a creative space. Looks like a creative. See, I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
There we go. That's fucker. Famed comedian Todd Glass, if you're just joining us, complimenting my space and my lighting situation. I'm calling it a win right here.
I'm like, rate mine. What's?
Yeah.
Well, of course. yours is swanky like I have it here. I love it.
Hell yeah. And it also is like very like I live in Mexico. So there's like a big painting and a Mexican blanket behind me, which wasn't intentional, but it took me so long to figure out my actual situation over here. If you looked at like 4 episodes ago,
when you were
oh
in
my
the
God,
interrogation room.
figuring out, because this house is made of concrete and it's not like thin concrete walls, it's like they're like 5 feet deep, and so there's no internet when you go into the rooms, and I have like 2 extenders going and none of it works and all the lighting is super dim. But I finally found, and it took me like 3 months, it took me 6 months to find a ring light down here, and I can't get Amazon, so it's just been a whole adventure.
Where are you at?
I'm living like outside of Puerto Vallarta area in Nayarit.
Oh wow, I love it. Is it? Well, how long are you there?
So I'm here for like a year total. I moved here in December, and I'm probably going to be heading to Tennessee in December or January or thereabouts.
It sounds so fancy.
It is anything but fancy. I was just telling Eric before the show, like it's like all just like scorpion stings, and there's like a giant scorpion thing. It's called a tailless whip scorpion, but it looks like a giant spider living in my broom closet. And I was just like walking upstairs, and I was bringing my cat. I call it his room service because he refuses to eat downstairs past like 9 p.m. because he knows I'll carry it up to like the bedroom for him. And so I was like carrying that up the stairs, and I tripped, and my nightmare, I have like an iron spiral. Thank you. I have like an iron spiral staircase and a concrete floor underneath every day. And there's huge gaps in between everything. I'm always afraid I'm going to trip and fall to my death and no one's going to know. And I had like the microphone turned on though. So I was literally in that moment, I was like, at least I can scream for help. And what is Eric going to do? He doesn't even know where I like what city I live in.
No.
I'm like, well,
that.
her internet wasn't working too good last week, so no loss here.
Yeah.
But I dropped. Go ahead. Do it.
I always thought one night I was talking to a friend and he just moved into his place, and we had that hypothetical. We're like, what would you do right now if I just like on the video call, you see me? I go, well, I would call the Denver police and just give them your phone number, I guess. But you know, I don't know, and I don't know anyone that knows where your new address. I don't know your parents. You know, I don't know their.
Yeah.
So I would have to watch you rot on the floor.
How long do you, Todd? In that hypothetical, how long do you stay in the Zoom room until you go and close your laptop?
The police get there.
Okay. Well, what if you wait? That might be a long time.
Well, yeah, of course you couldn't go anywhere else. You'd be. Oh, that would be the worst thing to actually have happened.
Yeah.
You're like in the kitchen making a snack, but you have like the Zoom call on still. You're like, just in case I want to record it for, the police.
You keep checking it occasionally. You're like, is this a bit? It's like the person is not responding.
Hey, where did you say you lived again?
Eric or me?
You.
I live in like outside of Puerto Vallarta area.
Well, okay, I'm not going to be able to say that. But I was going to ask me where I've lived. Like, and it's the guy who lies about he can make it up, and you might not know. Like, just say, "Oh, have you ever been here?" And I'll say something. I've never been anywhere, but he knows how to bullshit people. So give me somewhere. Ask me if I've been.
Right. Hey, Todd. Actually, where I live right now, it's like off of like 5th Avenue in the Bella Rush section of Little Serbia. I don't know if you've heard of it.
The food. Oof. So. So. That's good.
No, but you've been there, right? So you know about Mom Pa's.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, you get good there. These got some good desserts.
Oh, no, Todd, no. Mom Pa's, they're the Italian pizza place. They specifically say no desserts underneath in parentheses.
Well, when I say dessert, I mean not dessert.
Right. How fucked up would that be? The guy you're just like, no, Todd, you're
breaking the rule.
Yeah.
No breaking rules.
Todd, we actually got some questions from some guests. Would you like to?
Yes, of course.
Let's do this, sir. All right. What advice would you give anyone wanting to get into comedy?
Well,
What if you just walked up, walked away forever?
I put it off. I was like, I would tell my friends every week, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then eventually I just say, if you're too scared to do it, then maybe you're not meant to do it. And if you are meant to do it, that'll force you into doing it. Because you'll be, in a weird way, you'll be like, right, I got to love it so much. Of course, it's petrifying.
Right.
But you can remember it's 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And you know the good thing about stand-up? If the joke doesn't work, sometimes you're funny in the moment making fun of it not working. You can still be present. So I've had nights where all my jokes didn't work, but commenting on it did get laughs. I'm like, all right, well, at least, I was happy I got laughs. But just, I know this might sound bullshit advice, but like, you'd be surprised how much you don't see it. It's just like, and at least the type of advice someone could do it and go, you know what, he's right, that is helpful. Write it down if it helps with big black Sharpie, some 5 bullet points, put it on the stool. So if worrying about your set, hey, if you don't have any trouble remembering your set, well, then of course you don't need this. But if you do, don't put any work into remembering your set. You're already nervous enough. You don't have to remember something. Just put it out on the stool. And a few comedians said when they've tried that, it's like, yeah, it does. It helped me relax a little. I'm not trying to think what's next, But
yeah, and I think as a from an audience perspective, like I wouldn't think anything of it if someone had notes in a stand-up comedy context, No. I'm not like watching a Shakespeare play where I'm like, man, he's really taking me out of it,
Yeah, well, I think that's even better than and look, I've done all the note reading, but I try not to do the one. What I like about that, it's down there. You have bullet points, but you don't have to pull out a piece of paper. I think that sometimes can take an audience out. You're like, okay, that. All right. Or you have to pull it out and look at it. When it's just right there on the stool, you just worry about being present. And if that's nothing, it's right there, your bullet point. It's not like you're reading the jokes,
Mm-hmm.
And I also say that to I like being at a club where somebody just went on for the first night. It's a good thing to be around, It's like, I always have a ton of questions. Someone goes, hey, they went on the first time tonight. You're always first time, you ask them all the questions. And I always say that every comedian had to go on stage for the first time, no matter who they are. Like every comedian in the history of the world had to. Now I don't know what you'll do. Will you go on next week and the week after and go? But you're part of a club. Everybody had to go on and do stand up for the first time. Now you're in that club. That's a nice reward for the first night going on.
Yeah,
that's been such a theme in my life lately, like being a beginner at stuff, and like it takes so much humility, and whether you like it or not, and you have a choice, right? Like it's gonna humble you, but you can either embrace that and be like, I don't know what I'm doing and I have to like take time to figure it out. But I think when you're like a perfectionist about stuff and you're kind of comparing yourself to people who've been doing it for longer, it's a good way to get in your own way no matter what you're doing, whether it's comedy or starting anything new. It's like you seeing the opportunity of it and not needing to be like good at something right away, but just like being open to learning and being like, I suck at this right now, or maybe I don't suck, but like I don't have to be like the best at this right when I start, because that's not really that's a myth,
Yeah. I mean, you're still finding your voice.
Being intimate with another person is scary, but the drive to do it will make you get over the fear of it. So that's if you really are meant to do it, you will drive you. The fear is, the fears. Some nights it did. I'd be so nervous. I would take once in a while. I have to take this pill, like whatever it was, and it would like make me not have a stomach or have
heroin. You're like, this pill. I don't have a heroin problem. Yeah. I had a stomach issue problem.
Heroin. My mom would get a little tab of acid, and she'd say, "There you go."
Well, with an open mic thing too, like for anyone that's out there, I mean, it's 100% comedians who are all waiting their turn. Realistically, you don't get too many. You get occasional, depending on the club and depending where it's happening. But oftentimes, you're just hanging around other people who are doing it. So it's kind of like the classic thing too of like when you were in school and you were nervous about doing a book report. But realistically, everyone who's there is either thinking about their book report and stressing about that, not paying attention to you, or they're completely checked out because they did their book report and they're like, whoo. And the best part is like you're surrounded by like people who hopefully like enjoy laughing, enjoy and like get it, you know. So hopefully like when they do kind of their ears perk up, it's like you're around, you know, fellow people who get it.
Yeah, and I think also what Todd was saying, what you were saying about like fear, I was just having a conversation about how like I think if I wasn't afraid of playing music on stage, I don't think I would have even done it, because that was part of it. Was like the rush of doing it was like a drug, you know, and it was really exciting. And when I actually got really comfortable with the band and comfortable with the material I was doing, I would actually get sort of bored at shows and not have that same like excitement about being there. So I'd have to like write new songs or go to like bigger venues or whatever. But that was a big motivating thing for me.
This is gonna sound so cheesy, but I rewatched for like the millionth time in my life, A League of Their Own this weekend, the classic Tom Hanks, Gina Davis movie about women playing baseball back in the 1940s during World War II. And there's actually this incredible scene near the end where Gina Davis quits the team for a split second, and Tom Hanks, who's like her coach, talks to her, and he's like, he's having like a heart-to-heart with her, and he's like, "What's going on?" She goes, "It just got too hard." He said, "That's what makes it great. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it." And I was like, oh, you could apply that to all the best things in life. If, you know, if it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. What makes it great is the fact that's hard. I say that now to producer Murph right before we go on the show every single night.
Yeah, I want to be able to play the piano, but it's not happening.
Todd, someone wants to know, they called you by name. They said, Todd, what is your favorite website? I take them in chronological order, folks.
I don't have
You don't? Okay. Fair enough.
They're just being silly.
Hey, maybe so. Maybe they knew we had it.
Right. What do I have? Pet.com for all your household dog needs.
What if it was like your best friend who just set up your website for you recently and they were hoping so badly you'd say it? They're like one tear streaming down their cheek right now. Like, oh, I guess he's not going to name drop that.
Cameron. Why am I forgetting? What if it was them? Then I would feel bad. They do it in the kindness of their heart. Leo and your Cameron. Leo and Cameron.
Shout out Leo and Cameron. Kaylin, do you have a favorite website?
You know what? My favorite website, I do have a favorite website. I didn't realize what a nerd that makes me. There's a website called crystal-reflections.com. Huge fan. It's like GeoCities.
I knew it.
Straight up from, like super old school. But they have like a daily tarot energy card, like reading. And like, it seems kind of silly, but compared to the apps where it's all these like very generic interpretations of tarot cards, these are written by like hardcore Wicca, like it's like a coven that like got together and wrote these tarot like interpretations in like the 80s or 90s or something, and it's just like really in depth and insightful, and I'll still read them and be like, what the fuck are they talking about? But I love it, and it's like every day, and I feel like I have it like bookmarked on my home screen and everything, and I look at it all the time, like at least once a day.
Oh, I like it. I'll have to check that one out. Todd, who were the comedians that you grew up on that made you want to get into comedy? And they put in parentheses, any Philly-specific comedians?
Who comedians? I liked like guys that were already legends, like, because there was like two ears that I could pull from. One would be like the guys like Rodney and Don Rickles that were already like, you know, because they definitely influenced me, especially Don Rickles probably. Not the insult comedy, but like, you know, the inflections and but anyway, and then what was the question?
Just like who got you into comedy? Like who was it?
And there was also
Philly
like
specific.
shows on in the afternoon. There were comedians that they must have been big even back then, but like Gary Shandling, like, because I remember before I did stand up, I would see him on different shows or like on the talk shows and Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno, and like you would see them on all the talk shows. So, you know, and that was really fun to see, like, you know, it was like I enjoyed watching it. It was pleasing to me, you know. It was like I loved it. Stand-up comedians were just the best, you know.
Yeah.
So those were ones that, you know, I thought were really funny.
I watch like Don Rickles compilation things on YouTube all the time. Like I can watch him, like his like Letterman appearances. Rickles.
Yeah.
He was great.
Some of the stuff it doesn't hold up well, but
yes, my favorite. I agree. Like there is some stuff that does not hold up, but
come to terms with it. But I don't have to excuse it, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I you know, he's a funny fuck. It's okay that you could. Whenever people go, you couldn't have that act today. That's okay.
Yeah, that's a good thing. There's a reason why.
Yeah, it does. It ran its course, you know. You know, it doesn't have to be. Why are you so mad? Why aren't you ever happy? Isn't anything changed? You go, you know what? You don't do that anymore. Oh, that's a nice thing. I'm proud of society. Why are you always so mad that you can't do something?
I know. I always think it's funny when people think evolution is like a new thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're always surprised at. Always, I don't know. I don't want to be snarky because then that's not going to change anybody's. But it is hard. They seem to be shocked by evolution all the time. The way it is. But anywho, and I should give a shout out to I got nothing.
Well, I was gonna say yes, a lot of his material, you know, the material itself, but God, it's just so. To watch him the way he would actually interact with, like, whether it was like a Letterman or, you know, Carson back in the day, like his actual, the way he could just like the fluid, like it was truly artful the way that he like could handle what they did.
You know what somebody said, like the brilliance of him was that, like, there's something, you know, called timing. That means when you have something that's funny, and then if you I'm not explaining it to you. I'm just explaining a detail after it. You know, like put it in perspective, I think, first, because me and my friend were talking about it with this perspective. Like usually you take something that actually is funny and then you give it timing and then it's hilarious. But when you can take something that is not, it's all timing. It's not good timing.
Yeah.
He'll say, look at this guy sitting over here with a bucket of beluga. And you're like, laugh, a bucket of beluga? What does that even mean, you know? And you're like, that's just all timing. Look at this guy sitting in the front row going, and you know, it just makes someone laugh with just this absurd, like an orchestra of, and then with peppered.
Yeah, I'm going to shout out this as well. People should check out in the 90s. David Letterman went on Larry King's show, and I feel like Letterman, because he was always playing the host himself, he never got to indulge in that side as often, but when he was a guest on other people's show, like the rare times that he would do an interview, I'm telling you, YouTube it later this evening, folks. YouTube Letterman on Larry King's show is like 97 or something like that. You get to see him like doing his interpretation of like a Rickles act, essentially. Like it's just all timing. It's just all brilliant, fluid work that he's doing. Like just kind of everything that Larry King says, he just has like 3 things to add on to it. I mean, it's really artful. Someone didn't ask this, but I guess since we're talking about comedians that you grew up on, who are the comedians currently that you would always point people towards?
I'm not helping anybody.
You've done overextending yourself.
I always feel bad if I give a shout out to someone. Then my other friend calls me. Why can't you give a?
Your friends.
There's a lot of. You know what I was saying the other day, that like you don't always have names to bring up, but for, you know, I like slowly got, and I'm glad I did, like figured out what's great on TikTok and really started liking it. And amongst many reasons, you know, one is like, you know, it helps me see new stand-ups. Like a lot of stand-ups chop up their stuff. And guess what? Sometimes it's not your thing, but sometimes it is.
You're right.
And it's right in your phone. And I think it's good to understand that there's funny people out there. That way you have a perception of what reality is, instead of other comedians that don't know what's out there. They just go, oh, comedy's not what it used to be. No, it is. It is. It's ever been. It's better now than it's ever been. And you can just hope you'll be a part of it. But comedy's at a great place.
Nice. I like it. It is in a great place. I get a little annoyed when people do the old classic like, it's not like it used to be. It's just like you're not paying attention then.
Yeah, it's almost mathematically you could say more now than you could ever say. Almost what I mean by mathematically is go back and you can get out of your own way to go. I know what do you mean. They'll say I know what you mean. Like think about there was 3 networks at one point. Oh, not that long ago. If you now the vehicles for stand up. So with all the trouble, you wouldn't agree that now is the best time from the artist to the so many great folk. Come on. You can't say anything anymore. No, you can say more now than you ever could say. You might get backlash, but guess what? So what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It reminds me of when I would go on dates in LA with guys that would be like, oh, punk rock. You play punk, like punk has been dead for like blah blah. I'm like, no, it's just not like British guys with shaved heads anymore, like it's like there's always gonna be a punk scene because punk doesn't mean it's not like a music genre necessarily. It's just people who are like don't have access or like aren't great at like the instruments but have like chaotic energy or whatever.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live I feel like is the one that people always do all the time where they're like, it's not like it was. And then they always reference like when they were like in junior high or high school, like that was the golden era of Saturday Night Live. And it's like, well, yeah, you mean during your formative years when you first got into the show and loved it, and now you don't have time to watch it, so you like base it on nothing.
Yeah, it's even if you saw exactly the same band, it could be erased from your memory, but you're still in life where you're at. Some things, some dreams you had, that's the same. You're not gonna like the same band. You have to remember where you were at. Like not only this because there were amazing bands, but also you were 18. You did everything is just right ahead of you. It's such a great time, and you're not negative, and you're that's the way you're taking in this, not with what's this attitude.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I'd always say. It would be like, punk rock didn't die, you did. Like.
Well, I had a joke. I still do have it in my act, but I'll quote it. People go, no one plays outside anymore. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not true. It's not true. When I say like mathematically something like this, people can't more.
Oh boy.
Than
Todd made such a good point for the listener at home that he actually turned his camera off somehow.
No. Are we back on?
Yeah,
we're back on. We're back on, folks.
I'm sure everything's fine. But like people camp more now than ever before. And, it's just not even true. Like people do play outside, but it's like a talking point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We got a few more here. Someone wants to know, do you have any favorite places to take out-of-towners when they visit LA? I'll throw this to both of you. Todd, do you have a favorite place you like to bring anyone, maybe friends of yours from back in Philadelphia?
Believe it or not, like, I like to go to the Grove, the farmers market at night.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like because in reality, I'm not going to the Getty Center. I'm talking about something that's near my house that I might want to have them experience the war. It's pretty warm over there. I mean, the cozy. It's all types of people. It's a pretty good, loving vibe. I noticed. My friend pointed that out. He goes, say what you will with all the problems. It's okay when you're around something good. It is an eclectic fucking bunch of people. So to me, it makes them the kindest. That's the energy over there. And then there's all these shops and stores, and you get cookies and food, and
It sounds like you take them on your errand run.
No, I'm talking about just what I eat that night. You can go to different places and get different food, and then meet at a table. So I try to go to the Grove. I mean the farmers market.
Yeah.
I got that, but yeah, it's funny because I used to live really close to the Grove, and I could hear them recording The Price is Right from like my kitchen.
Oh, shit.
And so I would be doing dishes and I would hear people like applauding all the time. I would be like, thank you so much. Like, I'm doing great at this. Yeah, I would take people. So what's funny is when you first asked that, I was like, what's funny is none of my friends from out of town would visit LA. And then when I moved to Mexico, I had like 2 friends that I hadn't seen for years, like immediately come visit me for like a week. But if they did, hypothetically, before, I think LA used to also be like a little less or stressful. So I had friends, and maybe I was also more enthusiastic about it. like 5-10 years ago. And I really like taking people to Malibu because I think people have a picture of Malibu in their heads that's like very polished and like centralized and like all these things. And it's really like a very raw, rugged landscape. And there's like little bubbles and pockets of people, but
Right, like
Malibu is
neighborhoods.
more so like a very like raw nature than anything else, and it's very impressive. And I think it's a lot less like, I don't know, there's this image of LA beaches as being like really hot and fun to play at and fun to go swimming, and it's just not that way at all. The water
Right.
is actually like viciously cold and usually pretty rough waves. So yeah, I like to like kind of open their eyes up. I try to I think if someone was like, it depends also what people want to see, but I like to go to the mountains. And if it's someone who's like visiting me personally, of course I would go to like Pasadena because that's where I'm from. Be like, look at my old house.
Yeah, there's
Like,
my
this-
school.
Want this to matter to you as much as it does to me.
I used to take people to Lake Arrowhead. That was like
Oh, nice.
close for feeling like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Old diners and like, and if you go at nighttime, it's like an hour and 40 minutes up in the snow. It's pretty cool. Like,
I also like going to Stories because Stories is just like
Shout
such
out.
I don't know, it's a cool vibe. It's like
what stories?
it's like a very communist kind of bookstore in Echo Park. And when I say communist, it's like just young punk kids, but it's also like very, I don't know, how would you describe it? It's a bookstore, but it's also a cafe, and they also have food. And it's also owned, I think, by the same person who owns the Echo, like the music venue. So it's a ton of musicians that go through there and like independent artists. They have a lot of like locals who publish their books through there too. Or not through Stories, but like that they sell the books. They have events with poetry readings and comedy and stuff. So you see
It's a hip happening place. It's where all the swanky cats go.
I'll buy it. I'll knock it down. I'll put up a target.
Good luck. Honestly, it's been one of those places that when all the other places in the neighborhood were starting to crash and close up it's only gotten bigger. And even before that, when like bookstores were starting to close, like Stories became like they started selling booze. So like they're not closing anytime soon,
Right.
They kill it. But it's a fun atmosphere, and it's one of those places where like for me at least, I lived in Echo Park and I played music and whatever. So if I needed to just like get out for a little bit, but I didn't want to make plans, I could go to Stories and like run into people. And that's kind of rare in LA to have that, or at least I felt like it was rare.
Yeah, I do. It is funny that you mentioned Malibu killing because I feel like my answer for back when I was down there, there's like a stretch between like Malibu and let's call it like Ventura, and it's like depending on who's visiting me, like I take them to like one of those clicks along the map along the coastline, depending on like the person and their style.
And then it's only 3 hours back to LA.
Yeah, no shit. I was just talking to someone about that the other day where it's like it's so oppressive during the summertime because you want to go out to the beach. You go to like Ventura or something like that or somewhere between there and Santa Monica. And you're like knowing in the back of your head, like, well, I have a very long trek of road to get back to Echo Park later.
Where do you live? Where do you, hold on.
No worries.
Where do you live?
I'm up in Northern California these days. I'm up in Santa Rosa.
Okay, that's what I thought. I guess through email, or did we talk on the phone?
We talked briefly on the phone. You had told me that you had gotten off the treadmill. I did not have confirmation if that was. I don't know if that's what you always say to people when you first answer the phone.
No, I'm always. It's a good way to get caught up on calls because I can like. I just get on the elliptical 7 days a week. I like doing it every day for an hour and a half. But for the first 45 minutes, I don't go that fast. So I can like. I feel like I'm getting something done as opposed to just sitting there doing nothing. So that's why I'm probably usually I'm on the elliptical because that's when I'm making calls.
Yeah. I thought it was like a power move. I thought you were just like, listen here, buddy. I just got off the elliptical.
But is that what you really thought, or is that free?
No, that's not what I really thought. Someone wanted to know we got
fucked up.
for the listener at home, Todd, we usually have like the technical ghosts affecting our cameras, but it appears this time you're there. We see you. You're all good.
Hear me?
And we can hear you.
Nice.
We have a couple questions left, and then we'll end it with some games. Someone wanted to know, did you have an imaginary friend as a kid, and what was their name if you did?
No, I didn't. I would pretend I was. I would have an imaginary people that would work, like I'd be the leader of like a crew. Like I'd be a landscaper, but I'd be in charge. So
That's incredible.
In a way that, like, I knew it was weird, like, but I loved it. It could be at the car wash, like a presence at a car wash. The guy would have a suit, and I'd watch him. Like when I was in second grade, he'd come in, Mr. Run that car through again. That's embarrassing. He said, I'm like, because like to his name on the place, and I'm like, I told my brother, I go, that's the owner of the car wash, and I thought then maybe I could own a car wash or a restaurant or whatever it is. And hold on, what's the point we're coming to here? God damn it, marijuana sucks.
Imaginary friends, imaginary employees. It sounded like for you.
I would like make pretend I was somebody doing that, and I would have those pretzel sticks, and I would make pretend they were cigarettes, and I would do it on the side of our house, like because there weren't any windows. Like I remember going, you don't want someone to see you doing this; it's embarrassing. But yet I needed to do it that bad, I guess. And I would go things like, I swear to God, I would go, come on, we're losing light. But I would hear landscapers say, and they pretend that I was a landscaping, I was the guy in charge.
So you didn't have imaginary friends, you had like an imaginary workforce.
I had imaginary employees that would work.
Would there be one that was better than the other? Would you be like, look at Tony. Why can't you guys be more like Tony?
It was very peripheral, whatever that word is.
Yeah.
I would. It wasn't like I got into great detail. Like, you know what? If you keep showing up late, I'm gonna have to let you go. Please don't hit me with a shovel, Todd. It's the only way you learn.
Oh my God. Daryl, it says here that you asked for 3 days off. I thought it was 2.
Yeah.
Gets into like HR stuff in your backyard. Okay, someone wanted to know, what is a movie that you can watch repeatedly till the end of time?
Well, there's a few of them.
Oh boy.
But so when you get this question, you never really can list the movies. There's too many to remember, but so these are amongst a few, but especially if I was going to do, mushrooms or something, Super Troopers, really can do it for me. I like that's the only movie. Waiting for Guffman as always. You know,
that's one of mine for sure.
Yeah, and then I'm sure there's so many. It's just hard to think of, but that would be easy.
I like it. Someone wants to know, if you didn't get into comedy, what do you think you would have grown up to be?
Well, I
landscaper.
For a while. What?
A landscaper, obviously. Or
I did think for a while. I know what was attractive about it to me is that you can't build a house as quick as you can landscape. So I noticed from a young age that you can transform property. Like if it's a crew that knows what they're doing, they can go in and they move like boulders and rocks and then the dirt. They do. And one day it's like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's like art.
I don't have patience. Now, I'm talking about when you have like one of those crews that comes in, like one of those companies. That's what I always, and I think that's what was appealing to me to watch about it, how much, or even if it was maintenance on a yard, relatively, if you have the right tools, you come in and you shape everything up. And that's what was appealing to me about it. And I thought I could, my brothers all went to college. I was like, I wasn't going to go I could barely graduate junior high and high school. And when I say barely, I didn't. It was just and thought I would do that. And I would have and I really did think it through. I thought, well, I'll be living at home. So because my brother goes, well, you don't even I'll work outside, but I don't really like the heat. I go, well, I'll just be I won't do the work. I'll just have the cool truck and I know how to present it. And I know I don't have a lot of bills. I don't need my money. I'll just I have enough money. That was my plan. And then thank fucking God for stand-up comedy, because I would have hated the bugs and the heat and people with their fucking questions. Fuck themselves if they bother me.
Yeah, I feel like I could imagine you just being like, just let me get to it. Just trust me, trust the process.
And they have a right to ask questions, but I could see it annoying me. Are you sure that? Listen, I told you it's gonna look good.
Oh shit. Okay, we have hit the hour mark. So we always end it with a couple quick games. If you don't mind hanging out just a little bit longer, sir.
Yeah, let's do it up.
All right. So the first one that we always play.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. That was Todd Glass, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. All right, we're going to play the childhood classic MASH, which Todd, I don't know if you ever played this game before. MASH stands for mansion, apartment, shack, and house. Basically, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you a few questions, and we're going to find out what lies in store for you in your future.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Todd, can I please get 2 dream places that you would retire to one day?
Well, L.A. because I live here, or Philadelphia.
All right. And what would be like a place that you'd be like, this isn't for me to retire to?
Well, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
You'll be fine. Well, I already have a.
Florida.
Oh, I have the entire population of Florida actually in the YouTube right now. All right, we're gonna. What would be?
Oh, by the way, not because of what you would think. Even though I'm sitting here thinking, oddly, I was thinking of the humidity, but then I forget. Because there's of course nice people in Florida. It's more the humidity.
2. I think we might already know the answers to these. But what are 2 dream jobs you would continue doing the rest of your life?
Wait, what?
2 dream jobs that you would do that you would continue doing the rest of your life.
Well, stand-up is, if everything goes right, it would just be the stand-up. You mean like a job at CVS?
If that's a dream job, we're just playing like hypotheticals. Like
I'm gonna say dream job would be owning my own landscaping crew. That would be nice.
Okay.
Somehow maybe I put my name on some.
And then what's a job? And this is no shame. We're not shaming people who have this job. Just a job that would not be for you.
Oh, anything to do with plumbing.
Oh, okay.
Solid answer.
What are 2 of your favorite colors?
I like tan and orange.
Oh, and what's like a color it's not for you?
Ooh. Let me give it some thought, baby. A color that's not for me. Every color is for everybody. Just do you want to paint it on your wall?
Yeah, exactly. What's a color like if you walked in your house and all the walls were this color, you'd be like, oh, this isn't Todd Glass.
Purple.
All right. Do you have? Are there like vehicles or cars or 2 dream cars you've always wanted? Like, I always really wanted.
One is the Wagoneer. Last year they made it, 1991 Jeep Wagoneer with the paneling. You can get them. They're those cars where you can get them for 20 and they look great. 60, then it's supposedly unbelievable. But I'm talking, there's places they have them for like 130 because they're like shut the fuck up, perfect shape.
Right.
That's one of my dream cars right there. Wagoneer, I'd probably get navy blue and tan.
Okay. And then what about, I need one more. Do you want me to just put both of those different colors as your 2 vehicles?
No, I get another pick.
Yes.
My second car would be today, in the real climate of what's going on. The other one I would hardly drive. Something very that's good for the planet, a Tesla or something, whatever. I don't know, whatever the right car to get at the time is.
Fair enough. Is there a vehicle that you don't like? One that you're just, when you see it on the road, you're like, not for me.
Hummer.
That's what I figured. That seemed like right. Okay, can I get like 2? These would be like crushes. They could be real, imagine, celebrity. These are people that maybe like would retire with you or you spend the rest of your days with. And they don't have to be real, okay, for hurt feelings.
You mean to wait, what? What's the question?
Like dream partners.
Mm.
Oh, dream. Oh, you mean somebody that I would be in a relationship with?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Eric gets so terrified of offending anyone that sometimes it is hard to know what he's trying to say.
It's fair.
Let me think. You know, it's so funny. I always get bashful when talking about anything like that. That's what really happens. I was sitting here thinking, why? You have people that you think are attractive. You know the question. You know the answer. That's it. Like, I'm smart enough to go, yeah. You just call it for what it is, as opposed to devilishly trying to get out of the question, with being dishonest and putting the onus on you. So the answer is, I don't know.
I can just plug in like mystery person 1 and mystery person 2.
There you go.
But I will ask you for this. Can I get one person that you would be miserable, like, being with the rest of your life? Is there someone like someone you don't like?
No, I mean, there's people I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come off phony. But no one I'd want to say. Famous people, I always go to Hitler, but you can't always use Hitler as your fill-in,
We can on this
game. Case, yeah.
There you go. We'll use Mr. Hitler.
Stands for Mansion, Apartment, Shack, and Hitler.
Can I get 3 random numbers?
Really? 7, 8, and 9. This is interesting. So this is going somewhere?
Yes, it is. I promise. And we're almost done. Actually, this is the last one.
Like, what if at the end of it you go, all right, well, that's all we want.
Yeah, this is like the long con of like a census like taking situation. Thank you, Mr.
Is there
Glass.
anyone in the industry you don't like that you want to just like talk bad about her a little bit, real quick? Anyone you have a crush on that's uncomfortable for you?
Oh, last one, sir. 2 animals that you love.
Well, dogs, just can't get enough of them. And you know what? Almost equal cats.
Oh, the classic.
I mean equal. They're both a cool cat. When I realized, like, these people I know, I had a cat growing up that was like that, but these people that I know, that I'll watch their cats sometimes for them, go over to their house and this cat will come to you the minute you walk in the door. And he knows me by now. He comes right to you. If I go over there and watch TV for an hour, he's right on my lap. If I run into the kitchen, he eats potato chips. And you know what? Some nights it's still another beating heart. I'm at the Improv. I'm bored. I'll go home. LB will be there and we'll hang out and watch TV. Now, again, if you had a cat that went into the other room, then that's not going to be too fun. But anyway, so cats and dogs. I like long answers. Sorry. I'm every time all you needed was cat and dog. Done.
I like the image of a cat eating potato chips.
No, you just tapped into the whole vibe of this show. They're like long answers are
especially about cats. Long answers.
If there weren't long answers, this show would be like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
The cats eating potato chips is cute, or a carrot or whatever, because they have little mouths. They don't always eat that type of stuff. So something about they're like, and they look so good. They're like got a big carrot. Some of them will eat. I love when cats are sort of aggressive. I don't know what it's like to live with them, but on videos that I see, there's something very funny about them wanting like somebody's sandwich. It's like a dog.
Yeah.
I'm told they like lasagna.
In the morning, like I'll eat granola and yogurt like pretty much every morning, and my cat will square up with me if I don't give him his own little bowl of yogurt because he loves it so much. He'll like get in front of me and be like, and be very scary. So at this point, I just will give him a bowl before I even try to start to eat mine. But he actually, I was talking to a friend of mine who's living in Arizona, and he's living with a cat for the first time in a while. And I don't know how much I believe this for exactly the words he said, but he said the cat will eat entire rabbits and birds and stuff like whole. And it's just this giant, terrifying cat. But then they come in, and like my cat tonight, I forgot he was outside and I just got him in, and he had just like a little bit of blood on his chest, but he seemed real happy, And I was like, what are you doing? And then they come in and they're like, I love you. I want a tummy rub.
It's fun, and you sort of become numb to it, because until you just said it, as you were describing that, I realized that was the cat Looney. I had a cat like 10 years ago, and that was Looney. Like, I didn't want to let her out because I thought she'd get hurt. And a friend of mine goes, she might just be better off having a shorter life. She wants to go out. She's obsessed with going out. So I did. I decided to take the chance. I let her. Only one thing happened to her once, and it healed. I cleaned it up. It wasn't a big deal. That was it. But I let her out, and she would come home all except 2 nights. She would always come home, and so, but she lived outside. She also went to the bathroom outside, so that was a big plus.
That's the best part of having an outdoor cat. I actually trained my cat when he was a kitten to go outside, like with treats and like a whole system and everything, and he comes when I whistle. It's very cute.
I know, that's a nice bonus. But she wanted to go out, but
I like when they're free.
Yeah, they need to go find all the potato chips out there in the wild.
Some cats don't want to go. Some cats don't.
No, it's true. Some
like
are
people.
very content being inside. Yeah, agoraphobic little cats.
But as long as they're loved.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what animal do you hate that you would not want to live with? That's the next question.
Not hate, but like, I'm not about the ferrets and their urine is on their body. I don't know. Is that true that they urinate through their skin?
I don't know.
They seem oily, but I bet someone has a ferret. It's the sweetest thing in the world. Is ferret considered? That's like an animal. Like
it's an animal.
We're adding it. Ferrets has made the list. We're living with that, Todd. Okay. One last thing. I'm going to draw a circle. You tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right, Todd. And if you can see this, as I always show our guests every week, and for the listeners at home, I actually have an app where it crosses out. That's how it works. The circle told me that we had 5 lines, so every fifth line it will cross off, and that's how you determine your future. Here we go, sir. Once you graduate, you'll find work in Los Angeles. So first of all, you finally graduate college. So congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, out for the listener at home, he kind of like stood up, like his chest kind of puffed out. He got a little, okay. Once you graduate, you'll find work in Los Angeles as a landscaping boss, and you'll get around town in your tan Tesla. You'll marry mystery person number 1, whoever that was in your mind, and live. Hell yeah. And live in an apartment with 7 kids and an ever loyal pet cat.
Wow. Did I say 7 kids that I wanted?
Eric does this thing. He does not tell people what the question is, and then he asks for numbers, and every single time it drives me crazy because it stresses me out so much when anyone chooses anything above 0, basically.
Yeah, because 7 kids, that's something that would be a lot of work. So if someone adds that in, I'm not going to not notice. Wait a second. I didn't mention any kids.
Well, you got off easy because people will be like, 111, Their life is over.
All right. So we always end our show. We always like to give our guests a personality quiz, Todd, and this episode's no different. I was curious. We never talked about it, but I was curious what was going on in your mind when you saw that show called Goth Yearbook reached out to you, thinking like, what kind of weirdo name is that? Truthfully, we rarely have guests on that are quote unquote goth, which that's somewhat by choice by us. But I was curious. This is the first time we've ever given this quiz. We're going to give you a personality quiz that I found online. It is called the Gothometer. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and we're going to determine, this test determines how dark is your soul, and we'll find out if you're a goth or not. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to give you a couple questions, and they're going to have like options.
I'm going to order with these.
Okay. This one asks, what is your favorite color among these options? Blood red, sunshine yellow, dark purple, forest green, or pastel pink?
Blood red.
Blood red.
Well, I think that's, yeah.
How much denim do you own? These are your options. It's the main staple of my fashion wardrobe. A few articles, but I hide them in the back of my closet. Or denim, please. That's so unrefined.
I have a denim jacket, but it's tan.
So maybe a few articles. Is that the kind of middle of the road? One. Okay, so that's very few. What would you say, Caitlin? Is that the few, or is that just the please so unrefined? I'll go with a few because he has one.
What?
No worries. What is your favorite season between spring, summer, fall, and winter?
My cat is like attacking the back of my chair now.
I want to see your cat. Spring.
Spring.
I love spring.
If you were to smoke cigarettes, do you prefer clove cigarettes? Yes or no?
If I did it purely on the taste and how easily they go down, I would probably smoke cloves.
All right. Did you ever smoke cigarettes?
I did. It was fun. But I used to smoke Marlboro.
Oh, okay. Just straight Marlboro Red, like classic?
I smoked Marlboro Red, and then I started smoking Marlboro Light, which is just
Right.
I think I started smoking Marlboro Light whenever I was bumming my cigarettes from smoked Marlboro Lights, because I smoked Winston's for a while because I knew something. I never bought cigarettes. At the end, I maybe, but very rarely, because I smoked like a pack a week.
Oh, wow. Someone wanted to know. Oh my God! I asked as if I'm. These are questions submitted. Sorry for the quiz. They want to know, out of these movies, which one are you most likely to watch? Moulin Rouge, Conan the Barbarian, Interview with the Vampire, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, or Crossroads?
Oof, I don't know any of those movies. I mean, I know those movies. I'll say What's the other one?
Crossroads?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hell yeah. If you could have any pet you wanted, what kind of pet would you have between these options? A black cat, a Burmese python, a toy poodle, a Saint Bernard?
Woo! You go over those again.
A black cat, a Burmese python, a toy poodle, or a Saint Bernard?
Well, since I don't have help every day of the week, like live-in, people, because I would love the Saint Bernard, but only that. So I'm going to say a black cat.
A black cat, okay. Have you ever spent time in a cemetery for recreational purposes?
Yes, I have. The thing
Hollywood Forever?
Yeah, Hollywood Forever.
Nice.
Very fun. That's a really cool, fun night.
What type of music do you primarily listen to? Rock, techno, pop, or punk?
You can't describe the music I listen to. It's all over the gamut. I would say more. I don't know the answer to
that. Okay.
Put in rock because of the drums.
There you go.
Rock drums. Thank you.
That's why we have Caitlin here to catch those things. I would not have even thought about that. That was smart. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you want to live between these options? A castle in the English countryside, an apartment in Paris, on a farm in North Dakota, a chateau in New Orleans, or an apartment in Tokyo?
I think an apartment in Paris.
I like that. And finally, what kind of bed do you like to sleep in? A gigantic four-poster, a water bed, any bed that has satin or velvet on it, a canopy bed, or a coffin?
Wait, say it again.
No worries. No worries.
Take it seriously. I could just say anything, but I'm taking it seriously.
What kind of bed do you like to sleep in? A gigantic four-poster, a coffin, a water bed, any bed that has satin or velvet on it, or a canopy bed?
Gigantic four-post.
Hell yeah. Okay, we're going to calculate your totals right now.
Wait a second. That sounds like you just making that.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. But I do know that you scored 190 points. And, oh my, I was not anticipating this. It says that you are very gothic indeed, but there's still room for improvement. as you're only mildly disturbing. Don't lose hope, though, unless that's your thing, as you show great potential.
What? You know what? That's I got all day.
There you go. I like it. Well, on that note, that is all the time, unfortunately, we have. So, Todd, I just want to say, first of all, we got to learn so much about you this evening. We learned that you were once had high hopes of becoming a landscape boss. We learned in a new game that you actually will become one once again. So I feel like we're really breaking some like hardcore comedy world news here. Comedian Todd Glass retiring to fulfill his duty finally as becoming a landscape boss.
The landscaper. You heard it here.
Otherwise, though, my goodness, my friend, that was such a delight, such a blast. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Been a huge fan. First heard about you from the Comedy Death Ray compilation album from like 2007 and been following you ever since. It's a dream come true to have you come on the show. Before you get going, is there anything that you'd like to plug or tell people where they can find you, talk about your show or anything?
I got, 10-year-old Tom. I play the principal.
Oh, nice.
Animated series on HBO Max. I'll throw some love that way. But other than that, no, we're all good.
I love it. All right. Well, on that note, thank you all who were watching in the YouTube. Thank you, No Halo. I just saw your Britney Spears comment about the Crossroads. Yes, that. I was assuming it was that movie, but it could have been a different one. Otherwise, though, thank you guys for following the YouTube. Thank you for those of you who listen in the future. Todd, once again, it was a delight and a pleasure. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Caitlin, as always, for being the co-host with the Mo-host. And I'm going to say goodnight to both y'all.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Meeting you guys.
Recording stop.